Hi, it's Traci Bild. This video is on objections, one of your favorite things. Just kidding. So we have a technique here at Bild Co that we've used for over 2 decades, and you can use this with any type of objection. So whether it's in a sales environment, an objection from an employee, even someone you're trying to hire that's really talented and you want to get on your team. So when most people object, salespeople or people in general will try to overcome the objection. So companies will train. Here's the 5 to 10 objections you're going to get when you try to close, and here's what you do. And this is how you overcome them. And salespeople in general get overwhelmed because that's a lot to remember, especially in a stressful situation when you're trying to close something. So at Bild, we have a technique called the Checkmate Question, Checkmate Close. And what that means is when someone objects, you just simply say, I understand. So if you're trying to close a sale and you ask for the deposit and they say, we're not ready yet. I understand. Or if you have an employer trying to close to become your executive director and they have multiple offers and they're going to probably go with another one, they tell you to say, I understand. That gives you a moment to recover. It totally disarms them. They are taken aback because they're ready for the battle that they always get in this environment. When you say, I understand, you'll notice their shoulders will physically kind of go like this. And like, you do, right? So this is how they're taking this in. There's a lot of psychology to the Bild training, by the way, that I never have time to really discuss. Then what you're going to do is say, do you mind if I ask you a quick question? And they will always say yes. So if you were using the entire 5-step phone system, which I've done other video blogs on, this is technically step 4. So for those of you that are loyal followers of the systems, I want you to know that. And what we call the checkmate question. Now, what question do you ask? Well, there really is no wrong question so long as it's open-ended. The objective here is that you want to refocus them on what it is they want, why they inquired to your community in the first place, why they came to you as a prospective employer, why maybe they considered you as a referral source, whatever that is you're trying to close. You're gonna ask a question that'll help them to revisit that in their mind, refocus them, and the ultimate goal is that you're able to ascertain something that builds some value so you can go for one more close. So if I said, I understand, do you mind if I just ask you a quick question while we're on the phone? Sure. And they feel sorry for you. So like, oh, of course. So they always say yes here. So what was it that really stood out to you about our community and actually made you come back for 3 different visits? I'm just curious. I really like the people. The people are very warm and welcoming, and your staff was incredible, and I loved your food. Okay. And what is it about Willow Run, may I ask, that is really drawing you more there to make the move instead of here, if you don't mind me asking? Well, okay, well, they're $300 cheaper a month. Okay, I understand. Well, so based on what you're telling me, you really love our community, you love our people, our staff, our food. I know you love the apartment I showed you with the lake view. But right now, the barrier for you is that you can save money by moving into Willow Run. Is that correct? Yeah, it is. Great. Well, what I would love to do as a next step, so now I'm moving into the checkmate close. What I would love to do as a next step, if I could, because you really like our community so much, is sit down with you and do a financial review. And I know that you may think, and you may be right, that we're a couple $100 more a month, but I find that when we dive in and we match up the numbers and we break it apart, because while our fees are all inclusive, I know that theirs are not, you might actually end up saving more money by making a move here. And we just want to make sure that what you're thinking is the case, and I'm happy to do that as a service for you because we really liked you too. What might work best to do that? Do you have a few minutes now? We can do it over the phone, or if you prefer, I can even drop by your home this afternoon or tomorrow morning, or you can come here again and have a nice meal with us. Which would you prefer? So I turn that objection around I didn't overcome it. I actually understood what the barrier was, and I was able to save possibly the sale by not talking her into it, but by making sense. So when you ask a question and you discover a need in the checkmate question, the goal of the checkmate close then is to do our typical close, which is then to recap what you heard and move them to the next step by stating the next step is and giving them option of 2. And of course, you have to use some language in here because it has to make sense. So the checkmate question, checkmate close is a critical tool that will drastically increase your closing conversions. It is transforming. It's easy if you break it down. You role play it a little bit, maybe write it on a few index cards, get comfortable with the language. If you catch yourself asking a yes or no instead of an open-ended question, just pivot, ask, and just fix it. Recover and change the question around. Now you'll notice in this scenario, I asked a second question. It's okay because it made sense. You may ask 3 questions. If you're face-to-face, you do the same thing. Do you mind if I just ask you a couple more questions? So it doesn't have to be one question. And people like this because what you're actually doing is you're helping them to process what's going on in their mind. And I'm a big believer that people don't always know what it is they want. And it's our job as sales experts or leaders to help them process all those thoughts in their brains and organize them and understand really what the deciding factors are, what's most important to them, what their fears are, what their concerns are, and then to speak them out loud so they can hear and process and then help move them to the next step. Guide them. We're the experts. Stop talking people into things. Stop overcoming objection, plowing right over them. Slow down, start listening, people by people, and they will spend more money. It's not always about the money, but if there's no value, and you're more expensive, they're going to go with a cheaper route because the only thing compelling them to move is the deal. And this is why so many companies are losing revenue and NOI and just leaving it for people to take because they don't want to invest in recurrent training. And if you have to watch this video 5, 6, 7 times to understand how to master objections, you will forever be grateful you did once you don't have to put up with them anymore. And you're able to change more lives through understanding and conversation and connection. All right, I hope you found this valuable. You can communicate, share feedback, thoughts, successes on our Bild Co Facebook. We're also on Instagram, of course, LinkedIn. We will get back with you. We want to hear from you. You can always email at revenue@bildandco.com. Thank you.